Hello, safari fans. I'm Evan from Nala Africa Tours and Safaris, and this is much more of an informal video that I've been dying to make for a long time, and that is just to share a few of our favorite wildlife sightings from this year so far. And we've really been fortunate this year in that we've had two really phenomenal trips to the Greater Kruger area to view a few lodges there, as well as a few trips in our home province of KwaZulu Natal, and one or two family trips between as well. So yeah, we've really been spoiled for time in the bush this year, and yeah, I just thought this is a great opportunity, especially if you haven't been to South Africa before, to share with you and give you more of an understanding of what it's like here. I think a lot of people kind of underestimate the abundance and variety of wildlife we have here. If you haven't been here before, you might be kind of fixated on coming to see the big five. That's lion, leopard, elephant, buffalo, rhino, but there are so many other animals. There's such an abundance of animals here. There's so much to see. I think the lovely thing and with selling safaris for a living is that you can never really build up anyone's expectations too much, because they are always exceeded when they come here, which is lovely. It's just, you cannot describe the feeling of a safari. I think people are always blown away by just the amount of wildlife that they see here. So that is really, really a nice part of the job. And then for the experienced safari goers, and I know there are a few of you here as well that are very experienced, hopefully this gives you a bit of inspiration to book your next trip. And I know as safari lovers, as safari fans, we all love a good story from the bush. So I hope you enjoy these stories. These are just five that really kind of stood out for me and the people that were with me during these trips, as just really special moments. But as you know, there are just countless special moments when you are in the bush. It's not always the wildlife, it's everything else that adds to it, like the spectacular sunrises and sunsets. Just sometimes it's the fresh air, sometimes it's a chilly morning with your Amarula coffee on the drinks break, or bundled up with a hot water bottle in the game viewing vehicle. It's all of these things. It's the phenomenal hospitality and service that really do make you feel like royalty most of the time. So yeah, please enjoy this. Please add your own stories in the comments. I know it's a bit of a write-up to do that, but we'd love to hear, if you what sightings you've had before, what sightings stood out for you. It would be fascinating for us to get your perspective. Our favorite sightings are usually quite big cat and especially lion heavy. Lions are our favorite animals. So there's just something about being surrounded by a pride of lions that really speak to us. So let us know if you do have any stories you'd like to share. Add them in the comments. But here goes our 5 best or favorite wildlife sightings from this year so far. Number 1, wild dog hunt in Thorny Bush Game Reserve, and this was during our stay at Royal Malewan Game Lodge. This was a very special sighting because we were with Liz and Leon from Mrs. D Adventures, and they hadn't seen a wild dog in the wild before, and we were already a couple of days into our safari. So I think sometimes really special sightings are worth the wait, and this was certainly the case. We had a phenomenal guide and tracking team of Natalie and Bennett, who were just, if you know about Royal Malewan, they have some of the best guides and trackers in the world. They really did not disappoint. They knew we gave them a job to do, and they really pulled it out of the bag. They heard on the radio that there were wild dogs sighted quite far away from where we were, but they got us there, and just in time. It was one of those sightings where our timing was just perfect. The wild dogs were on the hunt. There were about 5 or so wild dogs. Sometimes it's hard to count, because if you've ever been at a wild dog hunt before, it is chaotic and very, very exciting. So 5 or so wild dogs on the hunt, being tailed by the same number of hyenas. And as they were hunting, we were trying to keep up with them in our vehicle. Sometimes they were gunning it, running after something. We were Ferrari safarying through the bush, trying to keep up with these wild dogs. Very, very exciting. Eventually, our guide let us know that they had, it sounded like they had made a kill. And on investigation, we found the hyenas with the kill. We actually saw the wild dogs first with blood on their faces. We were like, trying to look for the kill. We found the hyenas with the kill. And interestingly enough, what had happened was sometimes wild dogs will actually make a decoy kill, if you can believe that, to get rid of the hyenas, whilst the wild dogs will just make a swift getaway. So because they are such phenomenal hunters, making, they are successful 90% of the time that they go after prey, which is by far better than any other predator. They have the ability to make a decoy kill for the hyenas and make a swift getaway and hunt in peace without them. So really fascinating, but yeah, also quite horrific. We pulled up next to the hyena. I think it must have been the matriarch, a large female hyena who the other hyenas weren't even, competing with for the kill. They were just letting her have at it herself. So we're guessing she was the matriarch, and she was just crunching down on this impala fawn right in front of us. But I mean, when you can hear the bones being crushed, just like a bag of chips. So that was pretty graphic, pretty horrific, but I mean, it's just, sometimes you just feel all the emotions in one sighting. It was exhilarating. It was, we were so excited and so happy, and then kind of like horrified with what was going on in front of us. A couple of emotions, feel a bit emotional for the impala fawn, but it's fascinating at the same time what's going on. So yeah, I mean, a really, really great introduction to wild dogs in the wild for Liz and Leon. And you won't believe it, on our way back to camp, we were actually involved in a very similar lion hunt, where lions kind of took off after a buffalo, diverted and ended up going after a baby warthog, and ended up catching the baby warthog and having quite a fight over it, because it was obviously not big enough for the whole pride. So the one that caught it kind of didn't want to share with anyone else. And yeah, so I mean, in one morning game drive in Thorny Bush, and Thorny Bush is really action-packed, one of our favorite reserves here. Just a lion hunt and wild dog hunt in one drive, plus other game in between. It was a really, really phenomenal morning game drive there. So yeah, that was number one, wild dog hunt. Moving on to number two. Oh, two was a special one. It was just myself and another gentleman in the Sabi Sands Game Reserve at Simbambili Game Lodge. And to be honest, lately, for some reason, I've been struggling a little bit with leopards. We have been seeing them, but more brief sightings, not too close. And then, sometimes just missing out altogether when you've been informed that they're around the corner, you get there, they've left, and you just keep missing them. And sometimes this does happen. It's happened to me with wild dog before, never with leopard before. I've usually been very, very lucky with leopard. In fact, I'd seen a leopard on my university campus whilst collecting wood. So that was kind of only an Africa moment for me and my mates there at university. But yeah, I've seen leopards all over the place. 5 leopards in one sighting at Mala Mala on my first game drive at Mala Mala. 5 leopards. It was a female with her 3 cubs, and the male was kind of visiting them, and they were all just around the vehicle. So really lucky with leopards. But lately, over the last year or two, felt like we've been kind of struggling for leopards. But anyways, there's nothing like a trip to the Sabi Sands to cure your leopard misfortune. So yeah, we had a phenomenal stay at Simbambili, beautiful lodge, and straight into a leopard sighting. Although it was Tiyani's, we'll call him her boyfriend and her cub's daddy. That is the tortoise pan male. Straight into that sighting, and then the next morning, this really special sighting with Tiyani and her cub in the riverbed. And This cub has the most beautiful blue eyes, as you'll see. I'll obviously add a few videos. And for me, who is very much not even an amateur photographer, I think this cub will forever be known as the cub that got me into photography. I am fully inspired now to get properly into photography after photographing this just stunning little cub with these beautiful blue eyes. It was very, very, motivating to get into photography. But anyways, Tiyani and a cub, we had her there in a beautiful setting, fresh winter's morning in a riverbed, and obviously the cubs are always just so playful. So playing with her mom, there was a hyena right above them that you actually can't see in the videos that was just keeping a watchful eye on them. And what had happened a few days before that was Tiyani's other cub, it's suspected that a hyena had actually taken her other cub. And yeah, just a day or two before I arrived, Tiyani was just calling and calling and calling for her lost cub. I watched the videos and they were really kind of heart-wrenching to hear her just crying and calling out for her cub. So I'm sure she was keeping this cub, this blue-eyed cub, very close to her, but still under the watchful eye of a hyena just above them in that riverbed. Anyways, the rest of the morning drive, phenomenal. We had a crowd of lions marching down the road in the morning light and the dust. It was like spectacular. General game all over. There's such an abundance of wildlife in the Sabi Sands, and of course it's well known for their leopard sightings. But we circled back on our way back to camp and found Tiyani and a cub at a dam, a waterhole, and just in a very playful mood. And it was just lovely to spend like really an extended time with her up close. We had the cub under our vehicle, under the other vehicle. Cubs are so playful. So, I mean, they are all over the place. They're very curious, and it was just so special. We ended up following them slowly as they made their way up near the riverbed, and it looked like they were making their way up to camp, where, funny enough, Tiyani has had all of her litters of cubs under a deck in camp there at Simbambili, or just next door. There's another lodge right next to Simbambili. So it actually is her home too. So they said it's not actually too uncommon to see Tiyani and her cubs walking up the riverbed right in front of camp. I mean, it doesn't get much more special than that, but I mean, in true Sabi Sands fashion with the leopard sightings there, it's just, I don't think there's any other place on earth where you can see leopards like that. Maybe, I know Zambia, pretty good for leopards as well, and a few other spots, but wow, Sabi Sands, it must be right up there with the best place on earth to see leopards in the wild, and yeah, it really didn't disappoint. So that was a very, very special sighting. Tiyani herself is probably the most beautiful female leopard I've seen. Such a stunner. So yeah, very, very special place. Special sighting there at Simbambili and in Sabi Sands. Then number three was in our home province of KZN, KwaZulu Natal. So very proud of this one. Often it's the Greater Kruger we feel that just produces the goods all the time. But yeah, this one, maybe it's just because it's lions and I'm such a fan of lions, but we had lions in the mist at Sungulwan Private Game Lodge in Zuka Game Reserve. And it was just one of those settings, I think, it was just so atmospheric. So we were just coming up a road. We had just gone past a huge dam, very misty, moody morning, beautiful morning. And we were going up a road, and out of nowhere, this big male lion was just walking down the road straight towards us. And we were like, yo, what a moment, just like marching down the road. And he actually had a very, very swollen paw and a very, very swollen, looked like elbow on the other side, which we can only assume must have been from a buffalo hunt or something of the sort. But he was kind of marching slowly down the road in the mist down to quench his thirst at the dam. And honestly, it was just one of those moments where it really does take your breath away. You just like, and there he is suddenly in front of you, and you just kind of like witnessing this magnificence right in front of you. They've got like such an aura about them. Anyways, the rest of his pride was actually right behind him, lying down, as lions often do during the day. But we were lucky enough that as he made his way back up from his drink at the waterhole, his brother actually joined the pride. And our guide told us that his brother was actually sighted on the evening drive the evening before on the other side of the reserve, which means he had trekked 20 kilometers to be back with his pride. He had obviously been on his patrol and trekked 20 kilometers through the night to come back to his pride, and that got all of them up. And there were a couple sub-adults, so they're a bit more playful, so it's not like they're always just lying down doing nothing, as lions often do. But all of them got up and they all greeted each other, and then it just became this huge, like, really adorable moment of all these lions just rubbing against each other and making these cute noises and, yeah, just greeting each other and bonding with each other. And even doing the Fleming grimace that they do. And yeah, it was just, after that they came towards the vehicle, quite a few of them. They were clawing at the tree right next to one of the vehicles. They came right up to the vehicles. Some of them were eyeballing us, which was pretty hair-raising. Some of them locked eyes for quite a long time. And if you know, you've been told by your guide before that, they see the vehicle and the people as one kind of being. They don't see you as individuals in the vehicle, and that's why it's safe. But sure, in those moments you really do wonder because it looks like they're staring straight into your soul, and you can really feel like they've kind of like seen you, like, as a individual, and kind of eyeballing you. So yeah, pretty hair raising, but it's just, again, it's one of those sightings where it's just the atmosphere and the feeling is just electric. It's just so exhilarating. It's that your adrenaline's pumping because it's kind of quite scary, but at the same time just so exciting, and you feel so privileged and honored to be in that moment, just witnessing this. So yeah, another phenomenal sighting, and in our home province of KZN. So very happy about that. Number 4. Oh, and this might be my favorite of the year so far. Cheetah during drinks break, a cheetah visitor during our drinks break. This was at Rhino Sands, also in KwaZulu Natal province, at Manyoni Private Game Reserve. And sure, where to start with this one? It was myself, B, and Kiana. If you've been following us, you'll know they joined us this year to visit a few lodges, take some content, do some blogging, that kind of thing. And it was our first game drive at Rhino Sands Safari Camp. We had followed this lioness down to a riverbed, and we stayed with her for, it might have been about an hour. We stayed with her for quite a long time. Picturesque setting down by this riverbed. She had been on the hunt, but she didn't go after anything. There were a few animals, but they did see her, so she kind of laughed it off. Lay down next to this beautiful riverbed, picturesque setting, but it was starting to get towards sunset, so we decided we would go find a spot to have a drinks break. And on the way to the drinks break, our ranger said, at one point, stopped the vehicle and said, "Can you smell that?" And we were like, "Yeah, something smells like popcorn." And he said, "You know what that is? That's actually leopard urine." So anyways, we were kind of on high alert with all this big cat activity, like just scanning the bushes for leopards, for lions, and anyways, ended up stopping for our drinks break. And after a few laughs, a few drinks, some snacks, the drinks breaks are just sometimes the highlight of guest trips. We really do enjoy them. We were starting to lose light, so yeah, it was starting to get like pretty dark. So our guide started packing up. B hopped onto the vehicle, and Kiana and I were still standing next to the vehicle, just kind of lost in a conversation, when Kiana saw something a few meters from us and said, "What is that?" And as I looked, all I could make out was the shape of a big cat. And it was dark enough that I couldn't make out any detail. All I could make out was this was a big cat, probably 3 or 4 meters from us. So very, very close. Close enough, in fact, that if it was a lion or a leopard, we were in a very dangerous situation, especially under the cover of darkness. If it was a lion or a leopard, they definitely become more bold, and you just at that kind of proximity, you don't have enough time to get away if they decide to go after you. So all I could think of, and it's amazing how quickly your brain works in these situations, all I could think of was lion. And I just said to Kiana in a very firm voice, get in the vehicle. And we hopped into the vehicle. Obviously, in a split second, we were up there and shone a spotlight on this animal and ended up being a cheetah, which is not nearly as much of a threat as a lion or leopard, and must have just been coming in as a curious cheetah, kind of maybe curious about what we were and coming in to have a little bit of a look. But yeah, it seemed very, very relaxed, marking its territory on a tree there. But we kind of sighed, breathed a sigh of relief. And there were a few high fives in celebration. And I'm not too sure if the high fives were celebrating that we had survived that moment, or that we had witnessed the cheetah on foot, which is just such a exciting an exciting moment on safari. So yeah, we really, for me, this is as good as it gets, because it's such a unique sighting. I mean, on safari, if you go on safari a lot, you often see a lot of leopard, a lot of lion, a lot of elephants, a lot of buffalo, a lot of cheetah, a lot of hyena. But something like this is much more unique, much more exciting when there's that element of danger. But yeah, cheetah really aren't too much of a threat to humans, although very exciting to see one on foot. And just the fact that we thought for sure that it was a lion made it that much more exciting. And yeah, I was very impressed with our response time and how we managed to hop in the vehicle. Although if it was a lion and it decided that we were prey, we wouldn't have had a chance. Well, one of us wouldn't have had a chance. So it would have come down to who hopped in the vehicle quicker, me or Kiana. And I'm not too sure who won that race, because it was definitely a scramble and I wasn't looking. Anyways, glad we survived that. But what a sight. I mean, when you look back on it, that's probably my favorite sighting of the year so far. And then number 5, last one, the Birmingham Breakaways bonding. These are the Birmingham Breakaway boys. There are actually, I think there are 4 or 5 of them. I'm not too sure, but we bumped into 3 of them. This was at Shanatseni Private Camp in Klasiri Game Reserve, a much quieter reserve, which is really lovely. And yeah, there wasn't, this won't seem like a very rare or a very exciting sighting, but sometimes it's just, like I've said before, it's that atmosphere that's created. Our timing was perfect. We had to trek quite far to get there, and we managed to get there just before sunset. And when the sun started setting, it was one of those beautiful African sunsets where it's pinks and oranges in the sky, just a beautiful setting that kind of amplifies the sighting to another level. And we found these Birmingham Breakaway boys lying down in the grass, and as lions often do, they start getting up kind of around sunset to hunt for the evening or to move on. And yeah, as they started surfacing, they started bonding with each other. And just, I mean, as a lion fan, it doesn't get much better than big male lions all around your vehicle or very close to you, and just making the most adorable sounds you can imagine, nuzzling each other, rolling over each other. And the one really eyeballed our tracker, who was right next to him, maybe 2 or 3 feet away from him as he walked past him, and gave him a proper eyeballing. So I don't know what he was feeling in that moment, but sure, he must have. I mean, these trackers really do have nerves, nerves of steel. But But yeah, it was just one of those magical sightings, lions in front of you making all these cute noise. I mean, they really do just look like big teddy bears sometimes, but um, yeah, obviously, when you're in the vehicle, you feel quite safe and secure, thankfully. And anyways, we continued to follow them into the evening as they went on hunting, and then slowly made our way back to camp after that. So yeah, those are just 5 of our favorite sightings from this year so far. I'm sure we'll have a couple more for you. We are heading back into the bush hopefully next month. Probably going to be Pinda in KwaZulu Natal next month. It may be our last one, I'm not too sure. So maybe we'll have a few more for you. But we do also have a few special mentions to tell you, because it was so hard to make this short list of 5 sightings only, because there have been some crazy sightings that we've loved. And a couple of them are, we had a black mamba that rose right in front of the vehicle that sent our tracker, it rose right in front of our tracker as we slammed on brakes, and sent our tracker almost into the passenger seat as he jumped backwards. So that was really exciting, although very brief. And also very cool to see a black mamba. Haven't seen too many. I've seen a couple in the bush, but it's very, very, very rare to see. So, I mean, much rarer than seeing a leopard. So, very exciting. We had a really lovely display of a leopard rasping in the Manuleti. We had another great display in the Manuleti of a cheetah calling, just constantly calling as it was walking along the plains. We had those lions in the trees, also at Sungulwan and Zuka Private Game Reserve. Great herd of elephants at Rhino Sands in Manyoni, and the one elephant, the matriarch, actually came up to be in the back of the truck and gave her a very, very close sniff, just to kind of suss her out and see if she was worthy of being in the herd's way there. We've had those lions hunting after the wild dogs hunting, phenomenal sighting as well. We actually had also in Thorny Bush, we had wild dogs mating, which was pretty rare, as well as lions mating, and that was at Tangala Safari Camp in Thorny Bush. We had lion cubs feeding on a wildebeest kill at sunset, also at Tangala. We had the tortoise pan male leopard that, it kind of broke our drought of not seeing a leopard for a while, or a close-up leopard for an extended time, which is what you really want to see. And he was just lying right next to our vehicle, just kind of eyeballing us a bit. But he was a very relaxed, very well-mannered leopard, very polite guy. Although they call him the gangster of the north now, because he did, I think a month or two after our visit to Simbambili, end up killing another leopard in a very ferocious, tragic video to watch. Killed another male leopard, just got him by the head and just was relentless, just kind of worked his canines into this other leopard skull, and it was pretty horrific to watch. It was, I don't know if you follow a few of the lodges around that area, you would have definitely seen that video. Very, very kind of tough to watch when a predator is getting killed like that. So yeah, he's a bit of a gangster, and he apparently used to be a very pretty leopard, a pretty boy when he arrived on the scene in the north, and now he's got a good couple of scars, so he's looking a bit more like a gangster. So, but yeah, I think that's about it. Another great cheetah sighting in Manyoni, KwaZulu Natal, by the way. Phenomenal cheetah sightings. A really healthy population of cheetah here. So, if cheetah's really high up on your list, cheetah and rhino especially, then KwaZulu Natal is a very good choice for a safari destination, just by the way. But we had a cheetah and her cub on a kill right in front of us that we watched for a long time, and they were just feeding on a kill and just looking up at the camera with blood on their faces, and really good photographic opportunities, and just one of those special moments with a rare animal. All right, so that's about it. I think I'll wrap up. Quite a long video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please share any stories you have with us. If you want to reach out to us and even share a few stories, I'll put our email in the caption below. And if you're ready to start planning your safari, please reach out. We'd love to do that for you. We'd love to give you lodge recommendations and plan everything for you for your trip to South Africa. I hope this has inspired you. If you haven't been here before, please reach out if you need any information. And if you have been here before, I hope this has inspired you to book the next one. I hope you are frothing at the mouth for the next one. Anyways, welcome back to South Africa if you are keen to come again. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Cheers.